And we are live. Hello, everybody. This is Juanita Kapp from the Meticulous Moments show and from MAM, the Meticulous Martial Arts Mastermind. My goodness, it was so cold this week in Texas. I hope everybody is safe on the roads and that you kept your animals and your family safe as well. I never expected to see snow here, but it was beautiful, just very cold. Today, amidst everything that is happening out there, the world is falling apart. We want to bring you into a space where we can sit and we can talk about some very important topics and that we can just converse with a very special guest, Scotty Olson and his wife Fiona. They have been a part of MAM. Scotty is, of course, MAM Hall of Fame inductee 2025. So I'm going to bring him on. They're both incredible people. I'm going to bring him on here. Welcome, Scotty.
Thank you so much, Juanita. I've been looking forward to speaking with you and being on the show for quite a long time. So thank you very much. Just an honor and a blessing to be here.
Thank you very much, Scotty. I'm very honored to have you on here. And it's just amazing how the martial arts and the competitive sports have really, through MAM, just brought so many people together. The MAM family is growing, and there's just phenomenal people in there. And we were blessed to be able to induct you into the class of 2025. So I want to congratulate you publicly as well. I am almost done with the editing of the virtual ceremony, guys. It was a 6 hour event, and then I did other virtuals. So that will be seeing the light of day within the next couple of days. But Scotty, the
Yes.
focus today is on you. So tell us about your history with the sport. Tell us how, where you started, how you started.
Well, I was always a very small guy. I'm only actually about 5 feet tall, so I was always the smallest guy. I was never good at sports. Uh, I didn't have any athletic ability, and I just wasn't allowed to be on any teams. After a little while, I met a professional boxer named Al Ford. He was a Canadian boxing champion, and he had told me of a gym to go to, and of course, my mom would not let me try boxing. Well, if you have a son, if you're a mother and you have a son that has no athletic ability, the last thing you'll let him do is box. So she didn't let me. So I wasn't able to for a full year, but I was skipping school and hitting the heavy bag, and she finally said, Scotty, if you stay in school, I'll let you try boxing. So that was it, and I was able to do both, and it just seemed to excel for me. I liked it, enjoyed it so much that I worked so hard at it that I must have gained a little bit of athletic ability as I went along. um, Two traits I had: I was very strong for my size, and I could take a very good punch. Uh, those were really good things for me to have. How for uh, just for those kind of traits. So I don't know. I kind of lost track where it was there for a
That's
second.
right. So mom said yes in the end, and you were able to stay in school and do the boxing. But you
Yes,
worked very hard at it.
I'm sorry.
You worked very hard
Oh,
at it because
yes.
you said that you didn't feel like you had that athletic ability. How did the boxing change your level of confidence?
Well, yeah, I certainly wasn't a confident young boy growing up. Even into when I first started boxing, I didn't have a lot of confidence and any really. I didn't really feel that great about myself, and I was always made to feel small, and I wasn't included in groups. I wasn't necessarily bullied, but I was a little bit, and I had to deal with that. uh so that was one of the things, and so we have uh uh oh, try that one more time.
Yes. How did the
It's,
confidence level,
yes.
with
uh,
boxing and feeling that empowerment and like, Oh my gosh, I thought I couldn't do this, but now I can. How did that change everything for you?
Yeah, so once I started boxing, I started to achieve goals. I set goals for myself, and I was achieving them. It was amazing. Everything I everything I tried, or every goal I set, I'd attain it. It was like Golden Gloves, and then what we call as provincials, like a state championship. Then it went to Canadian Championships, to a Commonwealth Games gold medal. Went to the Olympics in 1988. Uh, I came in actually fifth place there, so I didn't get into the medals, but I lost to an American, a great American named Michael Carbajal, who I had beaten before as an amateur, but I didn't win in at the Olympics. So then, when that happened, the Olympics, when I was not when I didn't win, my whole world collapsed. I had no idea of any what to do with myself. My family wanted me to go back to school and continue my education, and uh, and myself, I wanted to be a professional boxer to see how that would work. And there weren't very many boxers in Canada anyway. There were a handful, but it's not like it was the number of boxers that are in Asia or the
Yeah,
United States,
right.
uh, um, or Mexico. So it's more of a here. It's like a hockey town. So, but not so much on boxing. So, but I had a lot of fights with my family about going to school and then turning pro. But I jumped in my car and I drove down to Las Vegas. And I wore my best suit. I went into the Top Rank Incorporated, their promotional company. And they couldn't believe I had the nerve to even walk in. They get world class fighters walking in and out of there all day long. And here, just because I was a little kid from Canada and I drove all the way down, they felt sorry for me. So they allowed me a little bit of time, and I was able to sell myself and ended up with a professional contract with Top Rank. And then it was went really well with fights, with all pretty much all of my fights being televised on ESPN. Then I had pay-per-view fights, and it just helped people connect with me by being able to see me on TV so regularly. And that was a real blessing, just to have those kind of fights, just to get the exposure. And yeah, I was one of the most exposed boxers of that time. So I was on TV a whole bunch.
That is incredible indeed, because you had this dream, and you weren't sure if you were going to be able to do it, and you ended up in the Olympics. Doesn't matter what place you landed, you went to the Olympics, and then look at what the wonderful things that happened after that. What did your family say when you kept achieving those goals?
Well, I think at first, when I was a young boxer, I think it just surprised them because I wasn't athletically inclined. So I was more of a surprise. And then they encouraged me a little bit, uh, to move ahead. But then I started to really set some high goals for myself, ones that I didn't really know for sure if I could attain. And but I worked toward them. I ended up getting to some really high elevations of the sport. That was really really good. And the family was my family was absolutely fantastic. uh, Once I turned pro, and they supported me, and they made sure that, I think they were more concerned not about the fact that I was uh, um, just boxing, and uh, not just boxing, but the business part of boxing. They were concerned about that, and how that would, if I would get messed around, as some fighters in history have gotten messed around by promoters and different things like that. So they were very concerned. and I kept winning. So all those and if and if there were only a couple losses on my record, uh, that were pretty devastating. I guess those happen, but I learned from them, and I bounced back and put myself back into contention for world titles.
That is fabulous. You didn't give up. You didn't give up. You just kept going. What was one of the losses that you remember? One of the losses that was really devastating to you?
My very first loss was quite hard on me. I was 23 wins, no losses, and I had knocked out 18 out of the 23 guys. So I was 23 and 0, 18 knockouts, and I was the United States champion, which was called the USBA champion. So I was the United States champion, uh, and then there were a couple people that were avoided, that nobody wanted to fight them. One of the guys was name was Jose Luis Zapata,
Oh,
and he was an animal. He didn't have the very best record of all time, but the only time he lost was if he got stopped on cuts. So his record was a little bit deceiving. He had knocked out pretty much everybody else that he won against, but had lost some on cuts. So I defended my title in Phoenix, Arizona, on that show. That's Oscar De La Hoya made his pro debut on that show.
oh wow.
Michael Carbajal was also on that show. So yeah, I mean Michael. Uh, oh, uh, so for Zapata, just nobody wanted to fight him, but they put me in there with him. So Top Rank just Sky will fight him because I never would turn anybody down. So I said, sure, I'll take the fight, and so we booked it, and so now I have this fight against Zapata, and I broke my hand, which I've done many times in my career, but I broke my hand really badly. I broke a couple bones, and they weren't holding my hand together very well, and it was in the second or third round of a 12-round fight. So that's a long ways to fight for sure if you have an injury like that. So I fought as good as I can and or could, and I did a really good job. I thought I won the fight. Could have been a draw for sure, but they gave the decision by some sort of a majority decision of some sort to Zapata. So that ended up being my first loss. Lost my USBA title belt, and of course then um, my next fight, if I beat Zapata, was going to be the first $1 million flyweight boxing match ever. So
Wow.
all I had to do was beat Zapata, and I didn't win that one. So it derailed me, and I went down to like number two in the world, and Zapata ended up being number one in the world as a contender. So he got the
Right.
mandatory title shot. Which he
That was
did, and
good for you.
it was pretty incredible that I, I I was number two for so darn long, and but the champions didn't have to fight me because I
Right.
wasn't number one. I was number two, and I was avoided quite a bit. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, that is what it is. I guess you have to live with things like that, and
It
especially in
happens.
boxing. Yeah.
It happens. I mean, your track record very very good. I just want to say, for the audience members that just logged in, you broke your hand in round 2 or 3, but you went all 12 rounds and you
Mhm.
lost that fight just by decision. So you completed that entire fight.
Yes, yes, that was a brutal fight. The actual bone kind of broken, kind of went like this. It's one of the long bones
It's
that
metacarpals.
yeah,
Yeah,
metatarsal, and I broke one. I might have even broke the second one,
probably.
but one for sure, and it was just horrendous, and the pain was intolerable, and I needed to, and my right hand was one of my very best punches.
Yeah.
And had I been able to throw it for the whole fight, I would have knocked the guy out. But
Exactly.
with it being that sore, I wasn't able to throw it, and uh, I he ended up getting more confident because I wasn't throwing the right hand.
Right.
I wasn't
Right.
hurting him very much, so he stayed, put the pressure on me, he stayed on top of me a little bit, and I had to box and do some other things. I thought I did well, but at the end of the day, they didn't give it to me, and I think there was a little conspiracy at that time between my promotional company and another promotional company, and I think they were somehow a little bit envious or jealous that maybe Michael Carbajal, and myself would end up getting the opportunity to fight for that
Right.
$1 million
You
fight.
never know. There's a lot of things out there. You never know. I just know that you completed that fight. That's the important thing. You didn't give up. You
No.
didn't give up. You still did good. You still went the distance. And that is something that you can be proud of.
Uh,
What happened when you were number two? What was your next fight after that? What happened in your next fight?
Next, I had one fight that ended up being next fight was a bit of not a comeback fight. It was just getting back into the ring fight because I had to wait almost a long period of time for my hand to heal and then get strong again, and it took a long time. So then I went in against somebody uh, which was just an average kind of a fighter, uh, and then one of my uh, uh, um, how can I say it? I ended up fighting in the Los Angeles Forum.
Oh,
That was a really big show where I fought another Mexican fighter named Jose Luis Roman, and
oh,
he was a really good fighter. He was not an incredible fighter, but he was a real solid fighter, very good. And I broke my hand in that fight too, in two places, and
yeah,
I of a 10 round fight. So I went 8 rounds with it being broken in two spots. After putting him down, the one shot that I hit him with put him down and broke my hand.
yeah,
So that wasn't good. And then so I had lost that fight, and I was pretty much wanting to retire right after that. I think I'd pretty much had enough, and even though I'm still rated pretty higher, then I had that secondary loss, and that bumped me down to about 8 in the ratings. So
yeah,
I lost a little bit of traction there. So as soon as I was able to win, well, because I wasn't able to get a WBC or WBA title fight,
yeah,
IBF wouldn't, the champions wouldn't fight me. So. Uh, I didn't have much choice, but they offered me a fight um, for what was it? Well, they offered me at least a world title fight, but not one of the major ones. It was the International Boxing Organization Championship.
yeah,
So one was called the IBO World Championship. It's World Championship, but it's not. I wouldn't rate it as high as some of the other
yeah,
World Championship belts. But I won that, and as soon as I won my belt, the first person I wanted to fight against was the guy Jose Luis Roman, who I had broken my hand previously to, because it kept costing me quite a bit of money anytime I had a loss, and then trying to come back from injuries and get my confidence back and continue to win a little bit and get on a roll. All of that takes a lot of mental strength,
yeah.
and I don't know, God really blessed me. I've been so blessed, and I've been able to have a strong state of mind, and would continue to not let people set limitations on what I thought I could accomplish. So I knew what I could do. I wouldn't listen to the doctors who told me to retire. My family wanted me to retire, and I brushed that all off and continued on, and I defended my that IBO World Championship for 5 years. I never lost the title. So yeah, it was. I just Yeah, that was a really good run, and it was nice for my hometown in Canada. They, I could have stayed in Vegas and continued to fight in Vegas. It would have been more lucrative for me had I stayed down there. But I wanted to have some fights back up here in Canada, so I missed out on some of the U.S. television exposure
Okay.
over that last few years. Uh, but I'm still remembered there. So that's really a nice thing. So people remember still my older fights back in the day, and now through video you can and through YouTube you can see other fights that I have had that weren't on USA networks. They were on
Good.
Canadian networks, so they were able to see them and to compare how I used to do to how I did in Canada. So give them a little bit of some fights to see anyway, for sure.
That's a great thing because now you have that content, and I mean, technology is a wonderful thing these days. We are able to do so many things with it. I'm glad that it's on there and that you are able to, show it to people and to share it. Still great accomplishments. I mean,
Oh,
it was a long run. Over the course of how many years did you box? How many years was your
well,
boxing?
the whole career it was about 21, 22
A
years.
long
Yeah,
time.
it was actually from, yeah, I guess 20 or 21. I started in 1982 and finished in 2002.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's a long time to be mentally strong. That's a long time to work, on yourself, a long time to put those goals, short-term goals, and then reaching those short-term goals and getting the long-term goals. That's a very, very long time to be dedicated to something. It's
Yeah,
commendable.
it's difficult when that happens and you have negativity around you and
Yes.
people aren't really supporting you. They like family doesn't want you to get damaged upstairs and get hurt. So they're trying to protect you. Managers are trying to protect you, and then you have your trainer wanting you not to get hurt uh, uh, eh, so and doctors don't want you to fight anymore. But it's really hard to push that aside
Yeah.
and and take a chance and to go for it. But that was God's plan.
Yes.
He wanted me to go that direction, so I did, and I gained extra success and got that title, which was beautiful to defend here in Canada. Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Absolutely, absolutely a long, long time. And, I don't know if that's happened to you before, but in life, I'll say it in general, sometimes people, they're like, yeah, I'm on board with you and, I share your vision and all that jazz. And then you find out later, no, no, no. Has that ever happened to you?
That they get bored of you, like
That
in
they
the
say they support, but then they don't really support. They just,
well, yeah, well, they unfortunately people sometimes believe what they read.
yeah,
So if something's in the newspaper and it's from a columnist or a writer, and they go ahead and give some negative feedback on your fight or on your
yeah,
career, or they say his hand always breaks and he's not going to be able to do it, people read that and all of a sudden they don't see you as being in a high position as you really should. So then you're fighting that too, and always feeling that you have to prove yourself in the next fight, that not only that the comments, you always have to prove people wrong. So
mm,
a lot of the television and the media down in the United States was really good to me. They were wonderful. I was probably more popular in Las Vegas than I ever was in Canada, but I really did like Las Vegas. That was a lovely place For a kid from Canada to go down to Las Vegas and be a professional fighter. And I only fought once as a main event or maybe twice in main event in Nevada, once in Reno, and then I did a main event uh, in Las Vegas, and main eventing on TV was a real special treat. And yeah, I'll never forget those times when you're on the billboard and it says who you're
Right.
fighting, and that's really it's hard sort of not to let your head get a little bit big for a few minutes. You realize, holy cow, I'm starting to do something. Yeah, but
Right. That is
it's
a normal reaction, absolutely. But I want to say that hard work that you put in all those years, that paid off. You kept on working at it, and you had people that were walking by your side. I want to ask you, did you have the same coach or trainer during the course of those 21, 22 years, or did you change coaches, or how did that
very very good question. Very good question. My original coach name was Paul Horty,
Yeah.
and he was an amateur coach, and he brought me all the way up from square one to the Olympics. And then once I got to Las Vegas, I went and had my trainer. Then became Richard Sandoval, who was the WBC, no, WBA bantamweight champion of the world previously.
Right.
So Richie Sandoval began to train me. Uh, I later on, I when I lost my very first fight, uh, that was really tough on me, and I made the decision to change trainers at that time, and then my trainer became Jerome Coffey, an elite champion and contender in his own right. In his day, Jerome Coffey, he trained me all the way through to the very end of my career. It's sometimes fighters uh, will be doing their sport, and they'll look at things and they'll think sometimes the grass might be a little greener on the other side, that
Yeah.
there might be a different opportunity, or maybe things are better if I was over on this side of the business.
Yeah.
So I had the best manager of all time. He is the world renowned Bruce the Mouse Strauss, and what a lovely guy. I just love him so much. He managed me all the way through. I decided to sort of stop that for a while, and I ended up doing a little bit of myself. Then I realized how badly I was at doing it, and how great he was at doing it. And then I realized that you don't shoot the horse that you ride in on. And I should never have, put a pause to him managing me. Uh,
Yeah.
I had no reason to be trying to do that for myself. I mean, fighting's enough.
It's enough pressure, right?
Oh, handling the business and different things is incredibly tough at the same time.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But it's in these mistakes that we make in life that we grow. We learn those lessons. And here you are, and we are conducting this interview, and that's speaking to someone in the audience. Someone is listening to your experiences and your answers here, and it's speaking to them. And that's what we do here. We facilitate at Meticulous Moments community upliftment through leadership development. You're a leader in your society, and what we're doing here is we are discussing your life because it's helping others in the community to be uplifted, and it's teaching them lessons, and it's speaking to their hearts. It's so important. I wanted to talk to you about Fiona as well, because you have an incredibly supportive wife. She's so amazing. Tell the audience. I mean, we're not here to talk about just your track record. Let's talk about you as a person and your family and how you met Fiona. Let's hear that story.
Thank you, Juanita. I was, of course, just an amateur boxer. I was 16 years old, and we had a smaller kid, younger than me, that was boxing in my gym, and Anyway, his dad and his sister walked in one day, and I was sort of glancing at the sister as she walked in while I was working out, and I wasn't supposed to be looking at that and losing my concentration. But anyway, eventually we started to send little notes back and forth to each other. She was 14, I was 16, and we became friends. I took her to her grade 9 graduation. So we have a lot of history together. She ended up moving to Toronto, uh, and so we had that's distance. It was a distance kind of a thing that we kept in touch, but we weren't committed to anything really. So, but then I went down to Las Vegas, and we started to communicate back and forth again. And then I started to bring her down to come visit me. Uh, and things just started to go along really well together. And so then, I finally asked her to marry me, and that was 27 years ago. And we were engaged. We'd been married for that long. Engaged. I was engaged with her to her for 6.5 years, a long time. Took me a while before I was ready to pull the plug in, actually do the wedding part.
A
So
little while.
it was a long time for her. So she stuck around. But what an incredible girl. She's helped me through. I've had, through the course of retirement has been difficult for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
retirement has been difficult. There has been uh, disappointments and depressions and injuries and health problems and different things. And I have at times relied on alcohol to kind of help me with those things.
Okay.
And now I'm completely sober, so I'm so happy. It's nice to be on with you, Juanita, today. And it's not like I have any cravings or anything. But she went through. I put her through a lot of stuff with uh, my addiction.
Yeah.
So that was that, and her staying with me is second to none for her as a person. She didn't sign up for that when we got married. She didn't sign up for dealing with an addict of any sort.
Yeah.
So I gambled way too much and I drank way too much, and it just caused a lot of it was a horrible period of time, and she stuck through me, encouraged me. I've been to rehab quite a number of times. I wish I only had to go once, but had to go a handful of times. And it finally kicked in, and I was able to be uh, go in a straight line. But Fiona, absolutely incredible. She and I could never thank her enough for the support she's given me. She came with her brother being a boxer, Graham McIntosh. She sort of got to grow up with boxing, so she got to learn a lot of it because her brother boxed for quite a long period of time
Yeah.
after, and became a really really great fighter for Canada. And so she got to know different things, and so she understood some of the stuff that I would go through, and and had compassion where a lot of people wouldn't have. A lot of women
Yes.
may not. I should say many, but some women may not have that compassion,
Mhm.
and the well, it's kind of it's just it's an ability to make you feel no, yeah, I
Like you
lost.
can open up to her and talk to her because she understood.
Yes,
She understood the boxing world. God did that for you. God placed you guys
yeah,
together because He knew what value she was going to bring to your life and you to hers.
oh yes, that, that's that, yeah, that it. It all was went so well, and I had a lot of trouble. She had to deal with me not being a drinker, still being a fighter,
Yeah.
going through some of the hardest adversity that you can get as a fighter, breaking hands, hurting shoulders, eye operations, shoulder operations, knee operations, all kinds of things, and things that were always knocking me down. And
Yeah.
she was there uh, to help build me back up. And that she's a wonderful, wonderful lady.
You are indeed very blessed to have each other.
Uh,
And I mean, it's just wonderful to see how you met. It was a divine thing that God did when she walked with her brother into that training gym that day. You know, God never makes mistakes. And He knows what's best for us because He knows our future. He knows what's coming in the future. We don't know. We
mhm.
don't know. All we're asked to do is to trust, right? But God is good and He knows what He's doing. And I
Yeah.
see that in your guys' life. Now, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that there were certain times that you felt depressed about certain things. You know, what was one of those things and how did you overcome it?
Of the depression.
Yes.
Well, I think that was the first time I broke my hand was my second professional fight.
Yeah.
So I broke my hand, and they put a plate in my hand, and it healed up in 2.5 months, and I fought right away. So it was not a big deal. As I got older and I broke my hand later in my career, when things were more important, and it was just the importance of me winning was vital to not only myself but my family, feeding my family and
Right.
the team, my team of my manager Mouse Strauss and Jerome Coffey, Richie Sandoval. We all had obligations, and nobody gets paid unless I fight.
Pressure.
So
Not
yeah,
pressure.
so there was a lot of pressure and built up in it, and it, as I got older, I wasn't recovering from my injuries like I was when I was just starting my career. It would take my hand, sometimes 9 months or a year, you know, uh, to heal up, and that's a long time to take off for a boxer. And
Yeah.
then to jump right back into a world class fight after a year, it's not that easy.
Not easy.
It takes a lot of commitment and a lot of belief in yourself that you're able to uh, have that strength to overcome the mental part of an injury where uh, I've seen people fighters who have broke their hands before, and then that hand never really being used
Mm,
again later when they fought because they're always tentative, holding it back. And
right.
but I was able to heal up and let mine go, but I would get depressed during my layoffs, and boxing was what I loved, and not having
Mm,
something constructive to spend my time toward, like being in the
mm,
gym. No, I wasn't in the gym really, and the injuries weren't healing, and it was just such a down period of time,
yeah.
and but but I did take the time, and sometimes in a year the hand was feeling a little bit better, and they gave uh, I was given another chance, and I would always do my best to live up to my part, and do as good as I can for my team.
Very
And
good, and you did. I mean, you did. You fought those fights, reminding the audience that you fought. If you broke your hand in the second or third round of one of those fights, you went until the end, round 12. The other one, same thing happened, but you went to round 10. I think you fought 8 rounds in the second time with the broken hand. So you
yes,
went the distance, and you gave it your all, and people know that. They've seen that in your journey. Pressure is a horrible thing.
Mm.
There's good types of pressure, but there's very, very bad types of pressure as well. And I don't think people, I'm glad that we talked about those questions, because I don't think people always realize in the sport the pressure that is behind the scenes. They
Mm.
buy the ticket, they go see it, everybody has an opinion, everybody has a comment. They don't know what went in behind the scenes, all the hard work, the blood, the sweat, the tears.
Mm.
Sometimes we forget. And it's good that we're reminding them, because there's a lot of people that's working very hard at different things out there. And sometimes they just get to a place where, they're just tired. And I always tell them, if you are running and everything's going wonderful, and then suddenly something happens in your life, you start jogging a little bit slower, and it's like you're trying to regroup. And sometimes people get more tired from that point on, and they start walking. I said,
Mm.
whatever you do, if you can't sprint or run, keep walking. Never ever go stand still or sit down, because
Yes,
it's very difficult to get up from that deep place, that dark place.
that
So
is.
momentum is the key. Family is the key. People that support you, they are the key. But that mental strength, your inward communication, your the way you speak to yourself, self-talk, that's
Yeah.
very important. And you had to practice that, because you looked at your coach and your manager and your family and everybody, and they were all depending on you. So you had to be strong. And you did that. Now, what's the type of self-talk that you would apply to yourself? What's the type of things you would
Yes,
say to yourself?
that that just the one that one phrase that I do have, and I might have stole it from another fighter, maybe Ray Boom Mancini or something. But you know, how could I put it? That I'm just trying to think of the thought itself.
That's fine.
I
Self.
have about three or four quotes going on in my mind, and I have to pick
They're
the.
all rushing through now.
That does happen. So it's
It
like,
happens to everybody. Self-talk's very important.
yeah,
The way we think about ourselves become our words. We speak
yeah.
about ourselves that way, and that becomes our actions in our life. People don't understand how
Mhm.
very, very, very powerful words are. That's why I always tell people: be very kind to other people. Make sure your words are very, very kind and uplifting. I believe in good energy. You never know when something's going to go wrong. I mean, I had a seafood that I was going to induct this evening. Let me give you an example. That this is just how this is life, right? I was going to induct him a little bit later tonight, and he sent me a message. He said, I have to reschedule. And I said, no problem, sir. And he said, I just want to explain, I don't miss meetings. He said, I just want you to know I was on my way back from work, and an 18 wheeler took out half of the back of my car, took
Oh,
out the half of his car, the back of his car, and his face hit the steering wheel. He lost some of
oh,
his veneers. I mean, he's probably got a concussion. We always have to make very sure, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, or the next hour, or the next. We always have to be very, very careful about how we speak to ourselves and how we speak to other people. Self talk is so important, and it starts with self love. And that's a foreign concept to different people. Sometimes people in the life coaching space and in the professional, like leadership spaces, they talk a lot about self love and self respect and um, you know, uh, all of this self talk. And they really break it down
mm,
to a place where they explain that if we don't love ourselves or accept ourselves as a person and talk well to ourselves and treat ourselves well, we are definitely not going to do that to other people. So it starts here. It starts with us. It starts with that. There was that song many years ago, Man in the Mirror.
oh yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
that song?
Okay.
I'd like to start with a man in the mirror. So when we look in the mirror in the morning, guys, let's make sure we're kind to ourselves. You're trying your best out there, everybody. We all do. Be nice to yourself. Say good morning. Have that self-talk and say good morning to God and thank God for this precious day. So your quote or your phrase that you used for self-talk, what was it like? What did it
Yeah.
basically entail?
Yes, and a lot of it, uh, uh, truthfully, I'm just like I always had to say to myself that I and believe that I could do it, and say to myself, Scotty, you can do it, and you know, just a small phrase like that. I always felt I had to prove people wrong, so that gave me a lot of motivation uh, to try my best and to overcome and succeed. Yeah, so it was very tough. So we have that was hard, and but having just the confidence to say that that I could do it, that pretty much what inspired me. But I wanted to prove people wrong, so it gave me so much motivation,
Yeah.
and that I think you know more a little bit more than self-talk. It was more proving people wrong.
Yes.
That's what motivated me the most, is to when they didn't write about me after my last fight,
Uh,
and then I had another fight. Well, I made sure they had a reason to write something good about the second time.
you
So
gave them something to write about. Yes, that's right. I read a quote the other day. Because, ach, Scotty, uh, when you're doing something in life and you're really trying to do something very nice, then you get people that support and run with you, but then there's always someone out there that says things out there and whatever, and we just love them from a distance, right? But I heard that one quote that said, I saw it somewhere on a photo. It said success is the best revenge. um, so working hard at it, if people say you can't do something and you then do it, that's the best revenge, that you can ever get. I see a comment here from home saying you did, Scotty. They had to eat grass. LOL. I had to eat that grass. What is your favorite fight ever? Like a fight where you felt you walked in and it just went so smoothly.
yeah, I had a lot of a few really great fights. Plus, one of the memories, well, two memories that I have. One was as an amateur fighter, and we were fighting in a place called Jakarta, Indonesia, which is Southeast Asia. So in Jakarta, Indonesia, all the fighters were small, so they liked people like me. They heralded people like my size, where you go to the States and they want to see the heavyweights all the time. But down over there, they like the little guys. And I had knocked out three of the fighters in a row to win this amateur boxing tournament. It was really a tough one. And I beat Koreans and a lot of tough fighters. And so I was able to win. Uh, that was, how to put it, just, uh,
Was it one of those fights where you walked in and you were like,
yeah,
oh man,
that's
that was difficult? Or was it one of those fights where you walked in and you were like, that went so easy. It went so much better than I thought. What type of
yeah.
fight was
Because I ended up knocking out everybody that I had fought. That's what it was.
that?
I knocked everybody out, and I was like the most famous guy in Jakarta, Indonesia at the time. They put they wrote things about me, said that I was a mini Mike Tyson, and uh,
Good.
yeah, and a lot of different things. Gave me the biggest trophies I've ever had, and so that was a really nice experience. But uh, in the Commonwealth Games, that's a lot of the Commonwealth countries, and
Yeah.
we at that time, unfortunately, in 1986 at the Commonwealth Games, the African countries did not participate in the Commonwealth Games that year because they had a lot of great fighters from a lot of different countries. So we missed the continent of Africa there, but I won my fights, and being the gold medal winner, I stood up on a podium, and to the silver medalist and bronze medalist, and while I'm standing on the podium, gold medal is around my neck, and my Canadian flag starts going up, and they're playing "Oh Canada," and just tears coming down my face. I couldn't believe I was able to to have done that, because that was one of my big goals to attain, and somehow I was able to get it done, and
That
but
moment. What a monumental moment for you and your country and your family.
that was all God
Oh
on that one.
my gosh.
Yep.
Holmes 1978 said you did, Scotty, they had to eat cross LOL, but they meant they had to eat crow LOL.
Oh,
Yes. So
oh,
will you tell the audience what does that mean?
well, well, I think that what the context of that is, I think with uh, uh, I just
I'm
think
not familiar with that term, so I just want
yeah.
Holmes 1978,
It's,
tell
it's,
us what does it mean? I'm gonna read another comment for you here, Scotty. Let's see. Scotty was relentless. He would chew you up with those body shots, settling up his, or probably setting up his opponent with those left hooks, uppercuts, and that right cross hook. And still, so I mean,
uh, yeah, Liz, thank you very much for those compliments. Liz, yeah, yes, that's just wonderful. Yes, it just makes me feel so good about myself, and what I was able to do, and how God guided me all the way through and never dropped me and always was beside me, and uh, mm, the people, the naysayers, the people that were not for me, or they were kind of for me, but you're only as good as your last fight, and
yeah,
and then you'd feel so down because people, the phone would stop ringing, your friends don't call you anymore because you lost the fight,
that's
your
correct.
family's a little bit more distance, and the fans are not, don't have your back, so
It's hurtful.
then using that negative energy, and then being able to prove them wrong, then that's true, that they would sort of eat their words, and that I
Yes.
always did that a lot. I did that a lot. It was one of my things that I enjoyed knowing, and they there's a lot of times that they wouldn't hold me much in adoration. I
Yeah.
wasn't where my whole abilities, they seem to be gone, and he'll never do this, he'll never do that, and you can never say never to the bulldog, because I always got him back.
That's right. That's right. Because I asked Holmes, what does it mean? You made them eat crow. He says it means you made them eat their words. Good, good for you. Good for you. I had somebody. I don't know if it was. Well, it was in the past week, and I don't know if it was constructive criticism or if it was just plain mean. But somebody sent me something, and I read it and I thought, huh? You know. And I replied very kindly. I said, "Thank you very much for your feedback. I
Mhm.
actually was not aware, of your opinion on that." And then I said, "I'm gonna make it my fuel and I'm gonna get better." And I've had people tell me in life, "Oh, Juanita, you can't do this." I go, "Juanita, you can't do that." I go and I do those things. I
Yes.
make a point. I make it my feel, and I say, well, now that's the worst thing someone can ever tell me is I can't accomplish something or do something because I make sure I go and do it. It's like a trigger, and I
Yeah.
can see you're the same. You make people eat their words. Sometimes we are just and I really have compassion for what you said, Scott. When you didn't win the fights, some friends started moving away from you.
Mhm.
The phone wasn't ringing anymore. Some of the fans moved on. That's very hurtful because we kind of hope in the things that we do in life that it's not just about the things we do, right? We kind of want to feel valued as people as well. So I'm very happy to hear that you do have homes here, and your fans still, some of them stuck all through the way. They know that you're a legend. Your beautiful wife Fiona, other, other of our friends that we have mutual friends of. So it's good to know those people see us as people, sees you as a person, a valuable person, not just your boxing career, but as a person, as someone that's gone through all those difficult things and have come out stronger, someone that's faced many difficult things but have been victorious. That's really heartwarming. I mean, look at Holmes. He says, God bless you, Scotty.
Oh,
He's sending you
that
blessings.
is so nice. If he could write down his first name, I could call him by.
Yes.
Otherwise, Holmes, thank you so much for the comments. Those are really nice, and yeah, and that's true. God was my pathway, and I stuck with that. Once I was about 18, I was kind of not. Before that, I wasn't too religious. I didn't quite understand and I went through some things, and then I found Jesus, and I was able to carry on with that, and it just gave me so much more strength. And when you have, if you have faith in God, there really you be depends on how you take it, but you can feel it. It can make you feel untouchable.
Yes,
Where
that's a good thing.
nothing's going to harm you, and I would read in the paper Scotty Olson should retire. The next day, and I would feel so low, but the next day I would say, I run 10 miles because I'm going to prove that wrong. Nobody's going to get that up on me.
Exactly. You know why that is? Because God says the spirit that they raised Jesus from the dead is the spirit that lives in us, right? So
Mm,
we know who has the final say in everything.
hmm.
We know. And
Yes.
that's only God. And we know who gets the glory. And that's God. And we know who directs our steps. It's God. We have Jesus in our hearts. He's our Lord and Savior. And
Hmm.
it gives us that knowing. We know that we know that we know we will never be alone. He will never leave us. He will never forsake us. No matter what we face, He is going to be there. Yes, fans may turn away. Yes, we may lose friends. Yes, people may say things. But God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And He gives us that promise. He says, I am with you. I hold you in the palm of my hand. That's why we have that confidence. We're not faced by other things outside and negativity and those things. No, because we know who we really depend on. That's God. God brought us to this place.
Yes. Yes, I agree 100%. I know that I did some things like worked out pretty hard, and but God was the one to give me that stubborn mentality. I'm sure
Yes.
that He gave that to you because you're very a strong woman with a strong mindset who was able to accomplish things, and you went through, I'm sure, your own struggles and adversities, and were able to overcome them.
Thank you.
And I think it was a lot. It would have been, it would have, well, it is, it would, was probably a lot easier for you to go through things knowing that God has your back. And,
Amen.
it's just very important to have in life is faith can give you so much hope and strength for sure.
Amen. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very, very much. I really do. God bless you. God bless you. I want to know, Scotty, what are the things you are doing at the moment? What can the Meticulous Moments podcast and the MAM family help you with? Because we are here to help. We want to uplift you as a person. You're part of our family and we want to help. We want to take hands with you and help you. What are you busy with? What projects at the moment, or what do you want to start up? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, that's very nice. Well, I started in about 2000, I started to write my autobiography. So I typed it, and I made three different copies of the book. And so I had three copies all over the place. And then recently, over the last year and a half, I made it, I merged it together, made it into chapters, and now I have it as a book ready to be published. Like it's a, I don't know, transcript, I guess, at this stage, but I still have to get it sent to publishing. And yeah, and I was able to put a lot of, I had a lot of life from the last time I was writing it up until recent, a lot of life that I lived. So I was able to include a lot of that. And I think if I, a little bit of help would be, if you wanted to, truly know some of the things that I went through, and some of my story, without me stuttering and losing track of what I'm talking about, I think it would be really good to maybe look into the book. But so yeah, and with Meticulous Moments, I mean,
Fantastic. You're in the right place. Can I tell you why?
you
You
know,
know, I did ghostwriting for almost 10 years before I started working on my own book, which I published last year in December. Scotty, I'm going to help you publish that book. I'm going to edit that book for you. You know, just look at the grammar and all of that, and I'm going to publish that book for you because that's what I do.
you're the best,
Just
Juanita.
you and Fiona must just send it to me. I'll send you my email address and we'll get started. The world needs to hear your story. And who knows what comes from that book? You know, we might get to a script and something else. So let's give that in God's hands and say, you know, Lord, lead the way. Lead the way. And thank you for all the miracles that you do in our lives every single day. Every single day. If you have one thought or maybe two thoughts that you want to leave with the audience today to inspire them as we come to a close of this session. I'm sure we'll have some more sessions in the future. What would you leave them with?
Well, like I said, I was trying to dig up a little bit of a phrase, but it was my idol, one of my heroes, I guess, from boxing, was Ray Boom Boom Mancini, and he had said once to a television person, he said, I never considered myself a great fighter,
Yeah.
but I was a good fighter who had great moments. That
Oh,
was sort of what
wow.
he had said. So I don't consider greatness. I don't care about that. But I care about that people in just enjoyed watching me from during my career. They were able to see my progression, and and I was one of the top fighters of my time for little guys. So I feel really really solid about that. I think, um, I would tell the young people, if you're coming up, if you can remember to do not shoot the horse you ride in on. So if you ride in with somebody like your trainer, and if you can at all stay with a trainer or a manager or somebody in that, or a promoter for that, and they're treating you well, the
Yeah,
grass is not necessarily greener on the other side.
that's
Stick,
right.
stick to where you are, and loyalty will bring you a long ways.
Those are words of wisdom. Those are words of wisdom. And this has been it was a refreshing session.
Mhm.
We talked about so many things, and I really think we went through those layers. And I do believe that the audience got a lot of encouragement from this, a lot of history. And you are, and your family, you guys are incredible. Keep shining out there, keep doing the great things that you are doing. And I am so happy to say, my brother, that I can say that you're a very, very genuine person. And that is something that you must always hold very tight onto. Always be that genuine person, and loyalty is very important to you. Those are qualities that people, they have it or they don't, and you have those, and I believe your wife has those as well. So I commend both of you. God bless you for everything that you've done and still is doing. And also, we will get to that manuscript of yours. Just send it to me. We'll talk offline about that as well. And just go and have a fabulous evening. And remember that you made a difference. Your life made a difference. The things that you did, is still making a difference now. The person that you are is making a difference now. And God is proud of you. Have a fantastic evening. Please give Fiona a hug from me.
Oh, for sure. And just before, just one thought I had was, I really, I have one of my very best of friends is Don McGuire.
I'm done.
I call him D Dog, and I love him so much. He's not feeling very good right now. Today
Oh,
he's a little bit under the weather, and so I of course pray for him daily. Uh, but Don has been just wonderful, and being and it is an absolute honor for me. I'm in the MAM, the MMAM International
yes.
Combat Sports Hall of Fame. And that is I'm just thrilled. So I thank you, Juanita, and for you. This is your baby. This is what you've done. You've created it, and for me to be a part of it in a small way as being inducted, that's I'm very honored. Thank you.
You are most welcome, Scotty. You worked hard for it. When Don nominated you, I said, "Of course." He said, "Can we induct Scotty?" I nominated him. I said, "Of course." And
Oh,
then we had that call. I remember we were on the phone, the three of us, and I could just hear immediately the type of person you are. I'm an empath, so I feel energy,
mm,
and I just knew that you are a genuine person, and we'll keep praying for Don. He was on the show the other night here with me, and I keep praying for him every day. It's a difficult walk, but I know Jesus has got him. I know God's got him in the palm of his hand. So we'll continue praying for him together. And thank you for being a tremendously important part of MAM and what I'm doing. This is my life's work, like you said. It actually started after my mama passed away from stage 4 brain cancer. I'll still
mhm,
tell you that story. She gave me purpose. It was almost like with her passing, a
mhm.
new life for me began. So I take that very seriously. And when I hear people being so happy to be in MAM, it makes me feel like I'm making my mama proud. So that means a lot to me. Thank you very much.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Juanita. You're an incredible woman, and I'm really, I'm really blessed to know you. So, and I can't wait to see you in person and be able to come down and see you and meet some of the other uh, friends and family that you do have, and it would be just wonderful.
Absolutely. Remember, keep the first weekend in December open this year. It's an in person event and looking forward to that family reunion. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful evening and speak soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye bye.